If you have been tempted and you're losing your passion, or you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, you have to listen to this podcast. I'll give you some tips. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to all new listeners. And welcome back to those who have heard of my content in the past. If you want to avoid losing that feeling of PT burnout, the daily grind feeling, if you have been tempted and you're losing your passion, or you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, you have to listen to this podcast. I'll give you some tips to stay laser focused on why you enjoy it. I get it. I felt it. I understand where you're at, and I want to keep you on track. So, if that interests you, you have to listen to this podcast. All right. Before I get onto the episode, what is new in life? I'm coming off of this super high accelerator course. If you weren't there, I missed you. I hope you can come out to the next one. But coming off this great accelerator course, there was a lot of phenomenal PTs and aspiring PTs and sports PTs out there. So it was great to just connect and start to build this community of like-minded, motivated people who don't want to have that PT burnout feeling. So really coming off of that, now it's just decompression mode. I'm with the fam and we're just relaxing and just getting back into uh, family time. And so now we're just relaxing and enjoying that process. And unfortunately, and fortunately, that's when I get my best ideas. So I had to record this podcast. So on to the podcast. So how do we avoid this PT burnout feeling? Well, there's a couple layers. Why did I have this topic? It came off of discussions I had with a couple of the attendees, and a couple people mentioned to me. They said, "Chris, I am already starting to get that burnout feeling. I'm losing my passion." And it's all the notes, it's all the stuff behind the scenes, it's the patients who don't want to get better, it's the people who aren't getting better, it's I can't seem to figure it out. I'm overloaded or overwhelmed. I feel like I work and I'm not really getting much back. And I totally get it. And actually, I have to be honest, one person was a third year PT student and already starting to see what that future holds. And I am so sorry that you feel that way. And I totally get it because I have. And I want to give you the tips and the tricks that I have used to conquer that feeling. And I do not have that feeling anymore. I haven't had it. And I'm literally telling you the three things that I think that you are going to be very, very critical. And and even if you listen to this, 5, 10 years from now, it's going to be the same because they're foundational principles level tips. So that's why I thought of this podcast, is just honestly because I know what you guys are going through. I know what that feels like, and I know what's going to hit you. If you're a third year student, or you're a first year student, or you're a new grad, you're an experienced clinician. If you're an experienced clinician, you know what that feels like. You have hit it, and maybe you're pushing past it, or maybe you're 8 to 10 years in, and you're just living with it. Maybe this is real deal. So I don't want to go too deep into this podcast, but there are some people whose relationships have with their significant other have been impacted because they don't love going to work. They feel like they're burnt out. They feel like they're just doing paperwork. They're just like going through the motions. They're seeing 16 to 22 people a day, or 8, 10, whatever your number is, and they don't have that fulfillment anymore. That's real. I've had some people reach out to me and be like, Chris, I love listening to things that lift me up. I want to continue loving this profession, but it's hard to find that motivation still. So I totally get that. And when you are stuck in that rut, it does feel like you're burnt out because there's nothing else around you. Maybe your peers suck you into that. Maybe that's your boss. Maybe that's the environment. Maybe that's the caseload. Maybe that's the patient. But I think that you have to understand where it's coming from in order for you to conquer it. Is it the patients that are making you feel that way? Is it the work culture, your peers, the other PTs or PTAs or whatever it is? Is it your boss? Is it the company structure? is it truly PT or physical therapy in general? Or whatever your profession is. Like maybe you're an athletic trainer listening to this, you're a massage therapist, a chiro, I don't know, whatever. But it's all the same. So why do you feel burnt out? I think you have to ask yourself that question first, because I think we automatically put it on the profession. Don't do that. Our profession's amazing. We help people literally feel better and enjoy life with like less aches and pains. That's a phenomenal feeling. If you've ever asked a patient what you do for them, they'll tell you like, you just keep me going. That's amazing. At the accelerator retreat, I asked my intern, Jordan, I said, hey, at the end of the class, I said, hey, can you remind us, why do you want to get into profession of PT? And he said, I really want to impact people and community and everything else. And I paused the room. I said, do you remember when all of us had that feeling? Do you remember when we all wanted to conquer the world as a physical therapist? So does Jordan. And if you don't feel that way, don't taint him, because we've all felt that way, but somewhere we lost it. And now you're burnt out. So I want to, if you're there now, these tips are going to help you get out of that. If you're before that point, utilize these things before you get sucked into this wormhole, because there is a lot of people who feel negatively about their workload, their work environment, whatever it is. And no one's going to get you out of that except yourself. So I don't care if you don't like this job or profession, whatever it is, and you go to another job. If you feel this way, you're just going to get sucked right in. Why? Because the limiting factor is you, not just your peers. It's, you got to be able to conquer this. Like, what do you love about the profession? What don't you? And so when you have PT burnout, it's usually because of the environment, and that impacts you and your view. And then no matter where you go to the next environment, your view still hasn't changed anymore. So let me start with this. Number one, I think at the top root level, I think you got to remember why you got in this profession. So like, what is it that brought you in? Let's create the bottom of the pyramid, the anchor point of why you entered. Most people, you ask, it's someone impacted you very highly, like they motivated you. They were in the clinic, they were like, they're trying to change your life, and you're like, man, this is an amazing profession. Like, you literally just make people feel better all day. So for me, it was my grandmother. If you haven't heard that podcast, my grandma is the one who inspired me to be a physical therapist. She didn't know that, but she had a hip replacement, couldn't afford PT, so I became the therapist. That feeling of giving my grandma power to be independent again was amazing, because of her quality of life. And it's funny because she helped teach me how to walk, and I'm over here trying to teach her how to get back to walking. So that for me is at the root level. Like, that is my top point. That's my North Star. That's where I'm always looking, no matter what happens in my professional career. Now that I'm helping mentor and coach and develop aspiring PTs, that's like my passion. Why? Because I'm trying to lift up the people who, I don't want you to get tainted. I want you to lift you up to get to a point that you love and inspire others. So for me, that's my North Star. I have to remember that. Why did you get into it? Was it an ACL? Was it an ankle sprain? Was it you were in help somebody, or you saw somebody go through a stroke rehab, or pediatrics, or whatever it is? Something got you in this profession and just lit a fire in you. All right, so you got to remember why you got in, and then why you enjoy it. So if that's your North Star, if that's the thing that you're always looking at, this is why I got in the profession. Great. Why do you still enjoy it? At the root level, you got to be fulfilled in your life, right? So you have to identify, what is it that you still enjoy? Well, actually, I really like when they they get back to work, or they go back to working out, or they get back to running, or they ran that marathon at 5K, or whatever it is. Or the high schooler who like earned a collegiate scholarship, and you facilitated that last little bit of recovery so they can stay healthy during the season, or whatever it is, concussions, anything. So your North Star is the story, what got you in. And currently, you have to understand, what is it that you still enjoy about it? Probably helping people, because that gets you fulfilled. Because it's not taping an ankle, it's not like mobilizing a joint. That's that's a portion of what helped get the outcome. The outcome is what you love, helping people get to an outcome. But for some reason, somewhere along that way, you're not no longer enjoying it. Maybe it's the paperwork, maybe it's the, 6 people an hour, whatever it is. Number one, you have to know remember why you got into it. 1B is you have to remember why you still enjoy it. Keep your like there without that, like you're always going to be negative about where you're going as a professional. Why you got in and why you still enjoy it. Yeah, like whether that's put a sticky on a refrigerator, do something about it. Number two. All right. So we have one set, we have why we got in. Number two is why we still enjoy it. Somewhere along that path, something is going on. So what I need you to do is stay laser focused on growth, laser focused on growth. The people who hit burnout are the ones who stop growing. They become complacent. They become okay with just doing the daily grind. At some point throughout your life, wherever you've been, high school, college, you have to overcome some obstacles. Maybe that was your organization. Maybe that was internal challenges that you had. Maybe it's, you weren't the strongest reader. You weren't the strongest writer. If for those of you who know, I was illiterate in high school all the way until college. I literally was trying to teach myself how to read and write my freshman year of college. So there's some obstacles in your life, but don't you dare think that because you conquered that one, that you're done. It's funny, like we climb this hill and then we like look down, we're like, oh my gosh, I did it. But then you have to look up at the next one, you're like, oh my goodness, that next mountain is even higher. And so as you conquer one more than the other, you always have to be laser focused on not looking down at the success, but keep looking up at the growth component. Like what's next? And you have to. And for some people will say like, well, Chris, aren't you ever like satisfied? Yeah, wait. I'm saying you celebrate it, but at some point, there's going to be more growth. And the challenge is sometimes you have to balance out where that growth is going to be. Maybe it's your personal relationships. Maybe it's your professional career. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's your fitness. Maybe it's your finances. You're always trying to juggle these things. And so when you pick up your fitness, maybe your job passion drops. Maybe you started dating somebody, or maybe you got married. Now that takes on the passion, and then your job takes a hit. And what I'm saying is you're always juggling these things back and forth. Your personal life, your fitness, your finances, all those things are just being juggled all the time. But the thing is the deep root, if you're looking at your professional development, that's got to stay high in your list, because that requires like 8 to 10 hours of your life per day. And if you're not happy 8 to 10 hours a day, just think about this. If you're sleeping 8 hours, you're working 8 hours, and then you're probably commuting, 1 to 2 hours a day to go to work, then there's only a small chunk for the enjoyment of life. So you got to love what you do, or else you're not going to be fulfilled or happy throughout the day. I promise you, I've seen it. I'm telling you. So if you've hit that PT burnout, this is real. Or if you don't, you got to listen to this. You have to understand that just because you've accomplished something, you can't always just be celebrating at the top of the mountain, looking down, and be like, yep, I earned my degree. I'm done. I'm out. There's nothing wrong with that. But the people listening to my podcast are like, what's next? They're always looking for something more, right? Because you got into the profession because you wanted to change either the planet, your community, the people around you, whatever it is. And so you get to that next level and you're like, cool, I'm cool with that. I love it. I got my degree, and now I'm working, I'm doing all these things, but I'm not getting that passion that I wanted when I first got in. Okay, cool. So then now you've got your laser focused on, okay, now you remember why you got in. You know what you enjoy about it. Something in the middle is that gap, is there's something missing. So you have to be laser focused on growth. That doesn't just mean CEU courses. That's professional growth. But I think also too, like personal growth, right? Like personal organization, stay motivated, read the books, listen to the podcast, whatever it is that takes you to that next level. So you can't just be taking Con Ed and thinking that's what's going to help you. I think ultimately you have to be able to improve multiple levels of, your people skills, your communication skills, everything outside of just like the mobilization and the taping and everything else. But ultimately, you're hitting PT burnout because you're losing sight of all of these factors. Let me give you an example. Somebody's like, I don't even remember why I got into this profession. Well, first you have to remember that, because that's got to reignite some passion. Number two, they can't even tell you why they still enjoy it. Maybe this is not the right profession for you anymore. Number two is that they're no longer trying to grow anymore. They've reached their potential. Maybe they're 3 to 5 years in. They're like, I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't enjoy it. Um, that's okay. But when you listen to this podcast, I'm telling you, you be around me. That's not happening. It can't happen in my world. Why? Because I absolutely love what I do. And the third point on this is that, uh, be, like you listening to this podcast, like the people who attended my accelerator course, you got to put yourself around like-minded individuals, or else you're going to get sucked in to the, man, maybe PT is not for me. I don't enjoy work. Just get away from that. You have to remove yourself from that. And now maybe they're your coworkers, so you can't do that. However, you learn how to filter that. There's just some people who maybe don't enjoy it anymore. That's okay. But you have to be able to separate that line. And if you've heard some of my podcasts in the past, I do fire friends. I do fire family. And what I mean by that, respectfully, because I love everybody around me. But when it comes to personal growth, I try and separate that line between listening and allowing it to enter my world, my feelings, my emotions, because I have to understand that maybe their mindset about like professional career isn't the same as mine. And I really want to be the absolute best at what I do. I'm OCD, I'm a perfectionist. I love what I do. I absolutely love it. And my wife understands this as well. If you've ever met my wife, Stephanie, she's incredible. And she understands, my view and truly what I want to accomplish in this planet. And for you as a listener, you want to be something different. Maybe you don't want to be the let's see how it goes type of a PT. Maybe you don't want to you don't want to just be okay doing a 9 to 5. Maybe you want a little bit more. Maybe you want something challenging, something to fulfill you. Maybe you want to work with high level athletes. Maybe you want to work in the pros. To get to that point and stay at that point is a very different world. When you get to that point, you better believe there's going to be some like-minded individuals, because there's people right behind you trying to take that position. Or you start to network with people who are just like you, and you're like, oh my goodness, we're all the same. Like, you really want to crush and conquer this profession and help athletes. You want to help people get to that next level. And if you're around people who don't want to get to that next level, guess what? They kind of like anchor you down. And they're like, no, 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 it's not that fun. Don't worry. They're just like holding at your feet as you're trying to climb that mountain. And I think you have to be able to separate that. And at some point, you have to decide, do you want to be in that environment? And then are you good enough about filtering and keeping that separate? So number one, this has worked for me at different stages of my career. Number 1A, remember why you got in. What's the anchor point? For me, it's my grandma. Remember why it is that you enjoy it. I love helping people get to that next level. I really do, both at the patient level, at the athlete level, and at the professional level. I'm helping new grads. I'm helping experienced clinicians get reignited about their passion, getting new grads, or excuse me, PT students to stay away from getting sucked into the PT burnout. And number two, stay laser focused on growth. Like, keep climbing the mountain. Like, you just climb one, look down, celebrate it. Perfect. Now look at the next one. Just keep pushing. And life is going to hit you at different points. So, it's going to derail you, and that's okay. Like, you'll meet a partner and you guys start hanging out, or maybe you get married and you guys go on vacations and everything else. Maybe your priority and time and energy shift, but it's okay. Just keep, like, your professional career is going to bring you a lot of fulfillment because you work so many hours per day, so many hours per week, and that hits you hard. And that's why it affects your personal life, because you actually spend almost more time, if not the same, with your partner as you do with your coworkers. And so if your coworkers aren't, if that environment is not good for you and it doesn't feel good, you're going to bring that home, and your partner's going to feel that, and it just becomes this whole chaotic thing. So I think you have to be fulfilled at home and fulfilled at work. And because of that, You got to stay laser focused on growth. Make sure that everybody around you is around it like that too. And number three is be in a community of like-minded individuals. What that means is maybe you find a new job or a community of PTs. Maybe you get together every once in a while. For me, I am going to build that. And if you've been to any of my courses, you come to my courses, you're going to find people just like you. I promise. That was the feedback I got from this accelerator course. I did a course evaluation, and I have thick skin. I love feedback. I love, like, I want to get better. Tell me what you would have loved better about this course. What did you love? What did you not? And the number one thing that people said, they're like, I loved the community. The people are incredible. Everyone was similar. Like, everybody really wants to be the next generation of a sports PT. And I respect that. And that is what I want to bring to this profession, is people who literally do not want that feeling of PT burnout, the ones who want to like avoid it at all costs. Or number two, maybe on the other side, they're like, I've been it and I don't like it. Maybe I'm in a relationship that that now is toxic because I don't love being at work, and now you're conquering now your personal life is being affected. And they're like, I don't want that. I don't want that for my partner. It's not fair to them. I've seen both sides to that. The new grad who's motivated doesn't want to do it, and somebody who's been outside in the clinic, practicing for nearly a decade or whatever it is, and they're like, it's impacting home. I get that. And somewhere in the middle, you can probably find yourself, 1 to 2 years in, you're like, I'm already starting to feel it. I don't enjoy it anymore. So I'm telling you right now, anchor yourself with why you did it. Number two, be continued to focus on personal and professional growth. You have to. And number three, surround yourself with people who are just like you. You'll be able to find them in your area. Get on a podcast, read a book, network with other people, go to CSM, go to the sports section groups, whatever it is, a special interest group, get into your local community or state PT association. I don't know. You got to search. You got to find it. If not, stick around. Join my community. Just come to an event, whether it's virtual, in person. It's up to you. I'm just telling you, that's really what it comes down to. And I know where you're at with the PT burnout. If you haven't felt it, good for you. Stay out of it. If you're in it, it's a deep, dark hole. And I understand where you're at. So these are my tips that I've helped myself figure out, and now I'm seeing the patterns with as I talk to more and more new grads, established PTs, and third-year PT students. I get it. They're saying the same things. It's the truth. So I know that, and I'm listening to you guys, and that's why I'm trying to tell you right now, get out of it. Stay away from it. So I hope that helps. For me, it's been the key. I love everything about what I do, but it's only because I continue to push myself and be around people who are like-minded. They were growth focused. You're being able to balance and separate the feelings of people who maybe don't lift you up and the people who do, and you just got to spend more time with those. So I hope that helps. If you are interested and you want to be in a community with like-minded individuals, go to my next course. It's the Management of the Barbell Athlete, April 23rd and 24th of 2022 in San Diego. If you want to do a hybrid, let me know. But the course link is up on my website. Just join me. We already have 2 people registered. We just launched, or actually we're just going to launch it on Monday. So I'm really excited about that. So we already have people who've interested who are from the accelerator course now coming in just because they love the environment and being around that. So we're only doing 10 seats. So 2 are taken already. I'm excited to help whoever it is and wants to be part of that. And if you have that PT burnout, you can get over it. It's not forever, I promise. And it's not just about leaving the profession or going to a new setting or a new job, because wherever you go, there you are. What I mean by that is it's always you. You always got to fix the main root, and that is conquer it however you need to. But ultimately, you have to see a different light, and that comes from you internally feeling fulfilled and loving what you do. So I hope that helps. And wherever you are, I hope to see you in San Diego in April. If not, I will see you at the next course. I don't know if I've launched it officially. I did it at the accelerator, but I have another course in July. I think the 3rd week of July as well, 23rd, 24th. That is a very fun course. Just put it on your calendars, save the date, and I'll have more information for you. Wherever you are on this planet, I hope you're staying happy and healthy and active and living your dream. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care. Bye.